Our next presentation has the title Economic of Proud by Acharya Vimalananda. And this class is aimed at giving us a view of prosperity beyond capitalism within the framework of the partyless economic democracy of Proud as given by Baba in 1986. I will introduce Dadaji now. Dadaji, are you here?
Yeah, namaskar. Yes,
Namaskar, Dada.
Yeah.
Dada has been pursuing Proud since his student days in the mid-1960s. He worked in key positions under Marga Guru's guidance overseas, as well as in global duties until 1990. He was blessed with a one-on-one 90-minute session on economic democracy by Baba in November 1986. Dada has introduced the economic democracy for Proud for the first time in the United States in 1987. He was also named by Baba to be on the Microvider Research Subcommittee since it was formed, and also established the Microvider Research Institute in Germany. Namaskar, Dadaji.
Namaskar. Yes. Namaskar to all. Before we begin the class, I will request that we should all have a minute of ideation meditation. Just a minute.
Dadaji, can you turn your camera on, please?
Oh, my camera is on. It should be on. Let me check. Yes, it's on.
It's on now. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Again off, though, kindly on the.
Namaskar. So, welcome all. Very intriguing and very interesting presentation, the social theory of Proud. Before wasting any time, let's first have the content before you, and thereafter we will go into discussions, and the sessions can continue even afternoon. So, Ananda Sutram has the fifth chapter of Ananda Sutram has the Proud ideology there, and it creates a new narrative altogether in society. Just a minute on that, and thereafter we go into the topic further. Interestingly, when I was studying Proud during my undergraduate days, I did not find any talk of left or right politics in there. There are altogether 16 sutras, and of the 16 sutras, 8 are devoted to society, what society is, how society moves, what is the social dynamics, law of social dynamics there. And then immediately after that, Mahasadhguru Baba goes into the economics of Proud. So we have 2 sections in Proud, the social section of Proud and the economic section of Proud. And interestingly, there used to be slogans and public statements, neither left nor right, neither leftist nor rightist. We are proudest, we are proudest. So Proud is beyond the narratives of left or right. We don't fit in the ideological bandwagon of the left or the right. Interestingly, some people said Proud is leftist, extreme leftist, and some people said Proud is extreme rightist. because it is such a undefined territory, uncharted area that Baba is bringing this whole new discourse. And that's why people are just confused. Are these proudest leftists? The rightist people say yes, they are very leftist people. And the left thinking people say yes, they are very rightist people. Why? Because we are new. It's a completely new way of thinking. Why Anand Murthy ji, Mahasadvipra Baba gave a new approach? Because he was to create a new paradigm. The new paradigm of universal yearning. Universal humanity has been yearning for shift of paradigm. And this yearning has been going on and on and on and remains unfulfilled. Many movements came and they simply disappeared. Green movement was there, and alternative movements were there, and then ecological movements were there, and then many. And today yoga movement is there. Well, closing in, but not yet quite there. Yes. So Prout is the ideology of synthesis. Prout is the ideology of creating the new paradigm. Everybody wants to see a new paradigm, but you have to be the change to see the change. If you cannot be the change, how can you see the change? And how to be the change? Well, Mahasadvipra Baba gave that clue, that formula, how to be the change, how to change you physically, mentally, and spiritually, and socially. That's all to add in the social area of Prout. I will now go into the economics of Prout. Yes, it's true. I was called to headquarters in 1986. Somewhere it was June, July. And when I reached there, immediately I was given a task of global organizing duty by Baba. And in that course, finally, he called me, as I have mentioned, into his room, and there was one-on-one session for 90 minutes. Baba said, close the door. I closed the door. And we sat. Baba was on his bed. I was on the floor, on the carpet. And we were discussing. He made me think differently altogether. 90 minutes we were discussing, and he went through the entire economic theory of Prout in the economic area of Anand Sutram chapter 5. And at the end he says, the way he described, the way he asked me, and I was answering, wherever I was not able to answer, he was explaining, and he added few more things, and he added few more things, and even few more things. And finally, he said, this I have named economic democracy. Now you will go to the US and introduce this economic democracy to them. I do not know anything about all this, but it was very surprising and very encouraging, inspiring. I laid my head on Baba's lap. He put his both hands here. He did some mantra. When he had lifted his hands, I simply did pranam. I did sastang pranam to him. I said, Baba, with your blessing, here I go. And the story goes like this. I came here 1987. I had 20 days in hands. My TP was approved for 20 days, and I had to give 16 seminars. And I introduced all over the US. This is how my study of economics in Prout started, by Baba's blessings, and by his grace. Till today, I remember every word of what we discussed in 90 minutes. To be very frank, I did not write them down. I have not put them down so that I don't forget it. And every day after my sadhana, I recollect all those things. For a few minutes, I just recollect the whole scenario and the whole thing that we have had. Ever since 1986, I am doing that. So let us see how economic democracy is different from the others, how Proutist economics is different from other economics. Economics basically is a science of scarcity. And the very study of economics very much developed in the capitalistic setting of the society. Before capitalism had set in, there was no much study of economics as such. So the entire study of economics has been done from that viewpoint, from that perspective. How to create artificial scarcity in the society, even when there is an abundance in society, we must create scarcity in society for struggle for existence will cause the evolution of the human race. So the struggle for existence must continue in society. I was at Colorado State University, Fort Collins campus. I was invited to give a talk to their graduate and undergraduate students by the faculty themselves. And there, we discussed the whole topic. We had 40 minutes of time, but we spent almost 2 hours. We had to change rooms twice because there were classes on those rooms. And I will come back to that, why I'm bringing that, that scenario here. I will come back later. But they said that if this is what economic democracy means, then it is workable. It is workable. It was economics department, Fort Collins campus. I don't remember the month, maybe February or March perhaps, 2005. And the difference here is, a very big difference is here, that this economic system works without taxation. There is no income tax. The entire system of economy works on taxes. But here in Ananda Sutram economics, you don't find any talk of taxes. There is no taxation. I mean the economic tax, the income tax. There is no talk of taxation at all in the 8 sutras of economics that Baba is putting in Ananda Sutram. He does not even say that you must put little tax. He does not say that you must tax them heavily. He does not talk about the ideal is that you put this much of tax or that much of tax. No. In economic democracy class, Baba very clearly mentioned that our system will work without taxation. Today, what is happening? Everything is taxation and taxation and taxation. In that talk, I said, they asked me, how will it work without taxation? I said, look, today, we pay electricity bills. We pay, all types of taxes, all types of bills. When we fill our tank with petrol, we make many billionaires. When we use electricity, we create many billionaires in the US or any country in the world. Many billionaires we are creating because we use these services from them. Why not these services, all this money go to the government? Then there's billions of dollars already there. Why could it not happen? Then they said, oh, we have that kind of failure examples so many places. Then I gave them some more examples. At one place, they said that you were saying that you will have balanced economy, and in the balanced economy, 30 to 40% people will work on agriculture. It was economics department. Whereas America's wonder is that we have only 3% people working in agriculture, and we see the wonder we have. I said, please stop there. I have to respond to you. If you can include all the people of Philippines, all the people of Nicaragua, all the people of India and China and Asia and Germany, all the people who produce for your consumption, if you can include all this population, who are producing materials for the consumption of this country population as your population. If you could think that they are included in your population, mass population, then that percentage will be 30 to 40%. So 30 to 40% people not living on the land mass of USA, living elsewhere on the globe, but adding into your economic activity of agricultural required activity, they are your population. They work for you only, nothing else. Their bread and butter is coming from what they produce for you. They are your population. If entire population is added as US population, then let us calculate what percentage of people are working to keep US economy stable and growing. And there was one student, graduate student, he said, yes, that is correct. I calculated already. After 5 minutes, he said, yes, the population comes to 35%. So 35% population, US population living elsewhere, having no resident visa for USA, they are keeping American economy stable. So the balanced economic theory of economics of Prout is very valid. They agreed. Our system is don't ask taxes from the people. When the economic thought started, when the very economic thought study of economics as a science, dismal science started, from that time itself, some small bug, B-U-G, bug, went into it and started corrupting the thinking. And today the economics run by what? It runs by the theory of social Darwinism. There must be a struggle for existence. There must continue a struggle for existence. If there is no struggle for existence, we will degenerate. We will not be the best race in the world. So artificially, struggle for existence is being perpetuated. If you remove that, and that is done with the help of taxation. If you can remove that, there will be a different kind of world emerging. There was a time one person was the breadwinner in the family. Today, you cannot have a family unless there are two earnings. Today, a person cannot have a family unless they have two wages coming to the family. Where do we stand? Are we rich or we are poor? We are 50% poorer. Even though it is being built and popularized as prosperity model is capitalism, actually not. It is mesmerism. Mesmerism. There was one breadwinner for a family of 2 and 2 kids, 4 people. That was sufficient to raise 2 kids and have a happy family life. But mesmerism brought us all in a way to a position. Our students, they start their life with loans. Parents cannot educate their children. Children have to take their loan on their own shoulder, and by the time they graduate, they already have $50,000 loan on their shoulders. What kind of society is it? Actually, it is not society. Society has not been actually defined in the USA or in the capitalist world. I'm not talking of Europe. And also I will not talk about England. They have a society. USA, because USA created the model for the world, and the whole world is lined around the USA being the hub. And the whole world is trying to emulate and copy the model of USA. And USA today has so much of borrowings, it has gone beyond their GDP. Living on borrowings is not prosperity. What kind of economics will suggest that living on borrowings is a prosperity? It is politics altogether. Whether it is left politics or the right, whether it is democratic politics or Republican politics. Both are gone into the same boat. Actually, it is Vaishyan system. And the presidents in this country are just as CEOs. They're not representatives of the people. They're the representatives of the interest. They are employees, the highest employee of the nation. We are not talking of that. It is a study. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that this is the evaluation. This is how it has been set up. Fine. What Prout is saying? Prout is saying that humans without culture is not our proverb. It is academic proverb. Humans have culture. Animals have no culture. Brutes have no culture. If humans live by culture, they will need a family, they will need a society. America, only 300 years, less than 300 years old. In 1776-75, we have the Constitution given to us. In 300 years, we don't create society. It takes thousands of years to create a society, to cohesion, to synthesize, to create a collective psychology. And the kind of party politics, it has created a rift in the vertical divide, is keeping people from becoming together, moving together. And the slogan has been what? Melting pot of culture. When we deculture people and make people only a workforce for the industries and economy, it is taking time. It is taking time. So the economy, before the economic study started from the capitalistic point of view, it was a different kind of economy that time. There was economy, but there was no economics. Economy was running, but there was no economics. Economics is a science of scarcity. So artificial scarcity is being created, perpetually it is being created, and people are drawn into working. Instead of 8 hours, people keep working 24/7. So what Proutist economy is saying? Proutist economy has some basic preambles, and how to implement those preambles, principles. We have the economic democracy program. And the first of that is, which says that Vaichitram Prakrit Dharma Samanam Na Bhavishyati. There will not be equality because nature causes diversity. So if anybody sells to you that everybody will become equal, like the socialist and the Karl Marx people said, it's not possible. Nature does not allow equality to set in. It will always create diversity. So that slogan is nonsense. It's not supported by nature. Life is a product of nature, and the nature does not support equality. So to think that all people will be made equal, it is a nonsensical thought. It is a hypothetical thought. It is just a slogan, catchy slogan to fool people. Then next, after that, Baba is saying that Yugasya Sarvanimnaman Paryojanam Sarvesam Vidhayam. The minimum requirement of life must be guaranteed to all in society. This is the first task of the economy. The main task of economy is to guarantee the minimum requirements of life to all. How it will be done is not written here. Yes, there will be 100% employment, but they know like a employment kind of employment. It is a kind of engagement in work, and there's a program for that. The entire economy has been organized in two sectors, agricultural sector and the industrial sector. And in the agricultural sector, we will discuss, it will all run by a cooperative system, naturally, easily, like we have kibbutz, and like we have many successful agricultural economies going on, cooperatives going on in past and different places. But the industrial section organizing is again three-tier economy, three-tier industry. The key industry, the large scale industry, and the small industry. And the key industry is run by the local government or the national government, federal government. Large scale industries will employ all the workforce other than the cooperatives, agricultural cooperatives. So other than the 30% people who are in the agricultural cooperatives, then we have 70% people. Out of the 70% people, 10% people are kept out for administration. Now the 60% population will be working in industries. Some will be working in key industries, some will be working in larger scale industries. But then these industries will also be cooperative industries. So what will happen? Everybody will be having their wages, and at the end of the year, when the wealth is created, that will be again distributed according to rational distribution. And that there Baba is saying, first of all, give all the wages. Thereafter, those who are meritorious, give them added emoluments. So like a teacher will have a different kind of salary, a doctor will have different kind of salary, because they have a special skills and they're serving the society in a different, more ethical way, more happier way. They make people happy and healthy. So their values, evaluation, and there are many experts even today, a lot of studies, all those things will be useful. How to evaluate the contribution of a person in society, and accordingly, their wages will be added onto the basic. So minimum requirements of life must be guaranteed. What does it mean actually? This means not the salary. This means the purchasing capacity. The purchasing capacity of your salary should be so much that your food, clothing, housing, medicine, and educational needs are all met and fulfilled. There was a very nice discussion with Baba on this topic in that 90 minutes. Suppose somebody's cost of living in a country is 350. I'm talking of India, 3,500 rupees. Suppose cost of living, basic cost of living is 3,500 rupees. Give them 7,000 rupees minimum. What will happen? There is no taxation. You don't have to pay tax. And your need is 3,500 and you get 7,000. And everybody gets that. Father also, mother also. If they are totally unskilled, no more skilled worker, still they are getting 7,000 rupees. Cost of living is only 3,500. Then husband gets more because they are skilled. Wives get more because she is also more skilled. So everybody has money coming more than they need, and there is no taxation. They don't have to hide their money. Oh, there's tax, so we don't have profit. We don't have money. Baba says, look, they will give 10,000 rupees, but then they will take 2,000 rupees as the tax. Why do you take tax? Just to give them 8,000 rupees. Say, okay, this is your money. Go ahead, move. That money will come back to the market. It will go back to the industry if you don't take taxes from them. But because of taxes, people hide their money. They hide their profits. I'm not saying. Everywhere is written on the wall. All the industries, they have 3 cash books, 4 cash books. One for the owner of the factories, one for the government, one for the public, one for the newspapers. What is it? Why? Why people have to hide their own money? Why they have to steal their money for themselves? Telling lies, we don't have, I don't have profit, we have not made profit. Why this pressure, unnecessary pressure? Because of taxation. No. Then the question came, where from the government will be finding money to run? We say, our cost of administration is very low. Our government servants are not highly paid people. They are the lowest paid people. That is the specialty of Sadvipra. And the Sadvipra inspired mentality. They find happiness not from money. They find happiness in Manomaya Kosha, Atimanasa Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha. They find happiness elsewhere. Not with a lot of money, I'm more happy. No, they are different kind of people. So the government officers, they will have a different kind of selection process, different kind of selection of the mindsets, and only those people will be in the governing area, service area, whose mindset is appropriate for service to the society, not hankering after money and wealth. And there are so many people in the world, in every country. In India, very recently, we had a president of India, APJ Abdul Kalam. He was the president of India. And he is known to be the rocket man of India. He created the nuclear device and the nuclear, explosion. He was the key man. And when he was made president and when he was retiring, his possessions were all in the newspapers. What he had 6 shirts, 6 full pants, 2 jackets, suits, no car. He had a lot of books. He had no house, no nothing, no possession. And he was the best president of India. And he paid all his bills when he was the president of India himself with his own salary. His mind was not in money. His mind was in sparking a new inspiration in the new generation of India. He went through schools and colleges and he addressed the students there. He sparked a new vision, a new dream in the new generation of India. We have people everywhere, here and everywhere. Humanity is like that. Humanity is like that. If you don't put survival crisis before the individuals, they have many beautiful things to contribute to the society. But if you think that there must be struggle for existence, otherwise society or individuals in society will not grow, I think that's artificial thinking of the human beings. When you think that humans are evil by nature, oh no, your starting point is different. Humans are not evil by nature. By nature, they are not evil. No, not by nature they are evil. No, by nature made them evil. No. Had they been evil, why they are going to confess when they do anything wrong? They want to get rid of that load of doing wrong, of having done wrong. Had they been by nature evil, they could have been cherishing whatever they are doing always. But everybody feels a conscious guilt. There is a bite in the conscience. Conscience is biting them. Man, you have done wrong, must get rid of it. The Hindus, they go to the Ganges, they take holy dip to get rid of their sins. Muslims, they do their own way. Christianity, Buddhist people, they do their own way. Where are the people who are evil by nature? Nowhere. But yes, if you starve them to death, of course they have to survive first. That is their situation. That under that pressure, they work differently. So first we give Proutist economics. First of all, give them sufficient. Let them produce whatever they do, they can, according to their skilled development skill. And then say, this is your money. Finish with it. No taxation. Take. a different economic system will evolve. So the second point was Sarva Nimnaman. Then there is Atiriktam Pradatavyam Guna Upatena. According to their skill and talent, give them more according to their skill and talent. Sarva Nimnaman Vardhanam Samaj Jiva Lakshanam. Then living standards should keep rising, and that will tell you that your economy is thriving economy or it is slowing economy. No, the living standard has to keep rising. How that will be done? Again, we have the Proutist economic democracy. Baba has the details in there. There will be more classes on those classes. In 1 hour class, you cannot learn everything of it, but the basics I'm giving. Then we have, so Baba is saying that in every economic planning era, every era means in every economic plan, Baba said that, look, people are doing 4 years planning, 5 years planning. Proud system has 3 years planning. In 3 years, you have to do. In every 3 years, renew your planning, not 5 years time. People forget. People, they are not able to link previous from today and from the future. The link is lost. So it should be short. Instead of 5 years and 4 years, it should be 3 years plan, so that it is directly living with people. It's not like a people memory is lost on that matter. No. It should be very living. So the living standard has to keep rising. And for that, there will be bodies, economic bodies will be there, economic planning will be there, and they will guide people how much production, how much pricing, and how people will be able to feel comfortable by buying more luxurious goods. So after fulfilling the minimum essential goods, all the essential requirements, then go into the demi-essential requirements, then go into the non-essential requirements. And when people will move from the essential requirements to demi-essential and non-essential luxury goods, yes, that will be showing that living standard is rising. So there is a plan for that in economic democracy. Then Baba says, Samaja Deshana Bina Dhan Sanchaya Akartabya. This is a very controversial economic theory. This was the theory which became the cause of praise and curse of Prout. Some people praise Prout, some people curse Prout. They are divided. Samaja Deshana Bina Dhan Sanchaya Akartabya. Interpretations were different. Samaja Deshanam means without the permission or approval of the society. Accumulation of wealth is not to be done. It is wrong. Black money is wrong. Baba is not saying how you are going to implement it. But people interpret it that money will be seized if people do not declare by their own volition. Money will be seized. If they don't put it back to the society, they will be put in prison. Baba is not talking all those things. People are saying their own version of it. No. Give incentive so that people don't have to hide their money. People should be able to feel that if they are saving $20,000 in a year because surplus money is being given to them every month, they cannot spend, then they will think what to do with this $20,000 that is surplus in the year, at the end of the year. We are not asking them taxes on this. So they will think naturally that if this 20,000 is kept in my vault, it will only remain 20,000 even after 20 years. If I put it in my workplace, my cooperative shareholding, it will start giving me money and money will be used. There is incentive to that. So how much money will be kept in saving, unutilized, that will be defined by the law. Like even now we have, in some countries we have, if you want to take money out of country, you cannot take more than $10,000 from this country into other country. There's a law. There will be law in place that if you want to have some cash saved in your pocket, in your house, okay, you can have 5,000 Per person, 5,000 rupees, dollars, you can have it, fine. But you will think yourself that if I keep my 5,000 here, it will only remain 5,000 even after 5 years. If I put this 5,000 at the end of the year into my workplace shareholding of economy in my cooperative shareholding, it will start earning me money. So you will not be hoarding money, you will not be accumulating money. This is also one interpretation of it. This is the interpretation that works in the economic democracy. No taxation, number one. Give them more than they need, number two. Number three, naturally they will put the money back into their workplace. So all the money will be always in movement. It will keep moving. No money will be stagnant. Money becomes stagnant because of the politics about the money. The politics being taxation, 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 hiding, stealing your own money from yourself. No, I have no money, I have no money, I have no money. The wrong approach. Wrong approach. Imagine the scenario. Everybody is put to work according to their skill training, and everybody is given more than they need, double than what they need, and there is no taxation. People will eat better food. Money goes into the industry market. People will wear better clothes. Money will go back to the market. People will wear better shoes. Money will go back to the market. People will have better housing, better living conditions. Money will go back to the market, to the industry, to the factory. Let money go, move. Don't stop money. The movement of money. Let money flow. This is also a way. This is a way to prosperity. That's what I discussed with the economics department of Fort Collins campus. Prosperity beyond capitalism. Capitalism has not seen what prosperity is like. Other than 2-3% of people in the society, nobody knows what prosperity is about. People live in big Bangalore, nice, but their life is loaded with 100,000, 50,000 loan. Is this prosperity? They cannot sleep. They have to take pills to sleep. Is this prosperity? No, this is not the way to prosperity. This is not called prosperity. The children have to start their life with loan to study. To be able to survive, they have to start with loan. Is this prosperity? Is this prosperity that a husband and wife both have to earn to live and have a family? Is this prosperity? The whole world knows that capitalism has created poverty. Whole world knows, but still capitalism is being brought to their country by politicians as the only way to prosperity for themselves. And no country has become prosperous. More countries have gone into more loans and more loans and more borrowings and more borrowings. Today, India has more than ever, more borrowing than ever. America has more borrowings than ever today. The borrowings of America is the highest ever now. Where is the success story of capitalism? I want to understand. I told this question to the economics department. Where is the success story? Please tell me. Is this the spirit of economy? Is this what economics is all about? To make people work hard and still live on loan and borrowings? Is this what you define prosperity? Is there a definition like this in the books of economics, what prosperity is all about? No. Why are you billing it like that way? Because there is politics involved. So the very basic principle of economic democracy is different from all the definitions of democracy. In all the definitions of democracy, the theory is, look, there are three forces in society: economic force, political force, and cultural force. These forces govern our collective life. Political force, economic force, and the cultural. In the capitalist system, economic power controls the political power. And in socialistic and Marxistic system, the political power controls the economic power. Both are together in this model as well as this model. This is the left hand economic power. This is the political power. In capitalism, economic power will control this. In the socialist system, political power will control this. When both are together, extreme powerful, it becomes extremely powerful, and power corrupts. So the extreme power will again be extremely corrupt. Nobody talks about that, but this is a fact. It's not Proud saying, it's not Baba saying. Everybody says that. It is the academic, it is the human learning that power corrupts. And there are only three powers. And the two powers, put them together this way or this way, they will be extremely corrupt. So you see, Proud system is different. Baba says, you will have to separate the two. That's the only way to escape, to create the new paradigm. Separate the political power from economic power. There's no other way. No other way. It will keep perpetuating. And the theory says that survival of the fittest is okay. Because Darwin had said this, and we go by science, and science is saying the survival of the fittest is nature's law and is fine. No. Many unfit and misfit people in the community, they also live happily, and people help them. Will you say that Stephen Hawking was fit person? Should he not have survived? Did he not prove to be the next Einstein of our times? Was he a fit person or not? He was crippled. He could not even speak. Machine was speaking for him. And he gave the theory of time. Where is Darwin? Where is Darwin? Survival of the fittest. Nonsense. Lot of politics. Robbing people of their happiness, economic well-being. Wrong. Change the paradigm. Think differently. Think what is natural. Natural is this, that humans are not evil by nature. Humans are kind by nature. Humans are virtuous by nature. That will change the paradigm. That will shift the paradigm. So in the Proudist system, there will be two kinds of workforce. Those who are in money sector, they will be busy with agriculture and industries and earning money and natural life. But those who draw happiness by making others happy, they will go in service sector. They think that when my work makes more people happy, I feel happy. Yes, that kind of mindset will be separated from the society, given extra special consideration, respect, workplace, and all the facilities to work for the society. And that will change the whole mindset of others also. It will encourage more people to work like that. More quality in life. So this way, economic democracy changes the whole scenario, whole paradigm. And there he says, Baba says in Anand Sutram, Sthula Sukshma Karnesu Charmopayoga Prakartavya Vichar Samarthitam Bantanascha. Nature has got crude, subtle, and causal resources. All the natural resources should be properly and maximally utilized. And the distribution of the wealth created should be rationally distributed. Then he says, Vyasti Samasti, one minute, let me make it. Samasti Sharir Manasadhyatmik Sambhavanayam Charmopayogascha. The physical, mental, and spiritual resource of every individual or the collectivity, that should be also properly and maximally utilized. Wherever there is more talent, train them into higher talent. Maybe physically crippled, but they're mentally more talented. Provide them. That is why what is happening in Proud system, Proud test economy, entire education is free. All health services are free. And there is no competition. Details I cannot go into because time is limited. Limitation. Private sector, I mean the money sector and this service sector, education and health, they are free for all. There is no private sector going in the education, no private sector in education, one sector. No private sector in health, no, one sector. No pollution, no corruption there. So, and there should be adjustment between the utilization of the individual's resources and the natural resources, how they are well balanced and adjusted. And in this way, Baba is saying, Desh Kal Patre Upyoga Parivartante Te Upyoga Pragatishila Bhaveyu. The time, place, person. Just don't think that money will be measuring how much who is earning. No. According to time, place, person, utilization of money and resources become different for the different kind of set of people. So consider that also. And accordingly, a progressive way of giving them economic prosperity should be created. So these are, you see, in this, there is no capitalism, there is no Marxism. Here is a pure economic theory, completely pure, away from whatever has been going on. And when you organize, when you put in perspective the balanced economic theory, principle of balanced economy, 30 to 40% in agricultural sector, that agriculture does not say only land agriculture on land, no, sericulture, pisciculture, floriculture, all kinds of, all these are going into agriculture, dairy, poultry, all these things are agriculture area. And 30 to 40% people are working on that. 20% people will work on those industries which promote this activity, R&D in all this area. And then 20% people will work on agro-based industry, how to create more and more refined quality consumer items out of the raw resource materials coming out from the agriculture. So 30%, 20%, 20% becomes 70%. 20% people will work on trade and commerce. 90% and 10% people will be in the service area. As I said, service area means government employees. And our expenses on government is very low because they will not be highly paid people. And when you go into further studies, if you are ready to work without salary, you can work in the government. You will have all facilities of working, but there will not be salary given to you. Spend whatever you like on your food, on your housing, on your clothing, all bills paid by the government, no salary given to you separately. Are you ready to work? Yes, please, welcome, come. And then there's a training of that mindset. How to make you stable in that mindset. And you will be given so much social recognition and social value that you will feel more satisfied than having more money in society. So the economy of Proud system is very, very progressive. And because it is separated from politics, so economy, it becomes economy, not economics. We are not mixing politics here. So it remains economy. Economy keeps working naturally, no interference of politics in the economy. And that's how economy remains pure and original. So this is how I will now close because time is also limited. So I will say that this type of economic thinking is very new. Nobody has given this kind of approach to economy. It is for the first time that Mahasadeva Baba is giving this kind of approach to economy. And I have given this talk of prosperity beyond capitalism in the US to almost 25 universities. And in 4 places I have given to the faculty members, economics department also. And they have agreed, and many times even they have invited me to please come, and but that was 2005. And yes, that is the whole plan for the shift of the paradigm. What the universal human yearning has been, we will need a new economic system, a fair economic system, an economic system which is free from politics. We will need a democracy which is not run by politics, but which is run by economic activities of the people, so that economy should never have to suffer for the needs of the political subservience. No, economy will never be subservient to the politics. No. More details will come in the classes. I'm giving a study circle at proudnow.com, and you're welcome to join in there. And for now, if you have any questions, I may have exceeded my time, but there was essential to tell, and I don't know. I'm very sorry for that. Plus, if you have any questions, please tell me now. Otherwise, write to us, and I'm handing over to the host. Thank you. Namaskar. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dada, for giving us a glimpse of the economy of Proud. And surely there is a whole lot more to be learned. And I gave some information in the chat area where you can go to in order to learn more about Proud. One place where you can ask questions is info@proudistuniversal.com. Or you can go to proudnow.com, where you can find the Proud certification classes. And all the courses you find there are free of cost. You only need to bring interest and the spirit of wanting to learn more about Proud. We have still about 10 minutes for question and answers. And please write your questions in the chat area again. There are already a couple of questions, and I will read them. One question is from Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira is asking, in a Proud society, will all have equal opportunity to proper livelihood, expression of mental and spiritual, cultural inspirations?
Interesting. Yes. In Proud system, our measurement of progress, as I said, is living standard rising. That rising of living standard includes physical to mental, mental to supramental, spiritual. And for doing that, what we are doing is more than sufficient wages, more than sufficient, double than sufficient. Second, shortening the working hours. Baba said to me, if Proud is implemented properly, Proudist economics, then in 2 economic plans, 3 years and 3 years, the living standard will cross the American living standard. That was in our discussion, in that 90-minute discussion. 2 plannings, 3 years and 3 years, 6 years plan. What will happen? The living standard of all the people, average people, Baba said, average people will go beyond the American living standard without having to borrow money. That is one part. Second part is that the working hours will decrease. A time will come that people will work 1 hour every day for the physical comfortful living, 1 hour every day. If you have 100% employment, 100% people are producing the economy and wealth in the society in a very cooperative manner, in a very organized manner. you will not need more than 1 hour. A time will come after 10 years or 9 years time, people's working hour will reduce from 8 hours to 6 hours to 4 hours to 2 hours to 1 hour every day. So the rest of the time is at yours for cultural growth, for study, for meditation, for fine arts, and all that. So what is progress? When time is released from physical survival requirements. Today, for the physical survival requirements, people have to work, people have to give 12 hours every day. No. When the time is released from there, then naturally people will use that time in fine arts, in family, in happiness activities, and sports, and competition, and social activities, and meditation, and nature, and many things more. So yeah, of course, that will be the scenario. Next.
Sorry. The next question will be by Apekshit. And he's asking, today under Biden, people are paid more by government than how much they used to make working. Hence,
Yeah.
they don't want to work. This is not what Proud wants for society. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, Apekshit, welcome this question. Don't forget, there's a background behind it. There's a background behind it. People know where they have been struggling and how they have moved here. But people will also understand that how long government can give more money like that. They will realize very, very quickly in 2-3 years, they will start seeing the scenario. People are already must be informed that government is borrowing money, and the government's borrowing has gone beyond the GDP. Any sensible person can understand how long it can sustain like that. But this on the other side is that people, when they're not working in their normal jobs, they will be grouping themselves together in a very cooperative manner with their known friend circle, and they will create their own enterprises, new enterprises. So it will be moving towards proud system, proud ideology, proud mindset, that don't work for somebody and earn little wages, rather create your own activity and earn more wages. At the end, create more money. This is very welcome. It's a natural outcome of this kind of mess. That's my response. This is what I see happening, and this is what will come. And that's good in a way, because society will have more entrepreneurs coming, and not individual, the group together, people in the same boat, they will start finding their own way how to survive and how to move forward. And American people are very hardworking. All the people who here, they believe in hardworking, fine. That will bring them also success. So there will be many more successful stories where people will not be working for the others, they will work for themselves. Very good.
The next question is again asked by Yudhishthira. And Yudhishthira is asking, isn't a penalty on accumulation the same as a wealth tax?
No. As I told you, you please pay attention. Suppose you are left with 20,000, because every month you are getting more than you spend. Okay. So at the end of the year, you are left with $27. Now you have two options: to keep this $20,000 in your pocket, in your vault, or do something with this money, right? If you want more money and more money, you will not be keeping this $20,000 sitting here. You will use it somewhere. Where will you use? At the place of your work. Work is going on. Today you own this much of share. If you add $20,000 this year, your share will increase, and this will bring you more dividend. Assured dividend will start coming, because it's a successful enterprise will be running, and you are a part of that, a shareholder and a worker there. So naturally you will be putting all your money in the place where you work. So this money will not be hiding anywhere. It will not be sitting idle. Rather, all the money will be going into investment. That is the scenario. That will be the scenario. because you will know that this $5,000 of saving will remain 5,000 even after 10 years. It will remain only 5,000 if you keep in the pocket. Either you spend it, good, it will go back to the market, good, or you will be putting in your earning, your shareholding, and it will bring you dividend every month, every year, more and more dividend, fine. So incentive is given. So it's not like a punishment. You keep, but government will make the law. For any society, for any country, some laws are needed so that your economic behavior does not imperil everybody else's economic life. So if money is sitting idle, this is wrong. It is wrong because money should be moving. Money is not meant for sitting idle. It should be moving. So when you are already guaranteed for your health, there's no health insurance required in Proud system. Health is free. There's no education required for your children or anyone. Even you, if you want to become a full-time student at any age, go ahead and study because you will give back your learning into society. What will you do with your learning and degrees? It will come back to the society. So society will educate you further. Yes, law must be honored by every member. If you are living in collectivity, whatever the economic experts will say, that will be also honored by everyone in that kind of atmosphere where there is no taxes, where there is more than enough payment, and where all these encouragements are there. Why should you be thinking that way? It is a hypothetical question. Punishment. What punishment? There is no need for you to do things which will become a law-breaking situation for you. You will not have to break the law. There will be incentive for you. Why should you think of breaking the law? That is the atmosphere. That is the approach. That is the ideological approach for us. No, give people the options. Educate people through the television, through the different educational processes. Educate people how money helps in your life. What is the dynamics of money? What is the best use of money? All these things. When people are more educated, they will be happier to follow the course of the law. When there is uncertainty, then you are left on your own to struggle, and then you have to think like that. But when that scenario is not there, when there is no survival struggle for survival scenario, then why you should be thinking like that? Next questions.
Actually, Dada, our time is up now, but I'd like to encourage everyone to write to info@proutistuniversal.com if you have any more questions which were not answered today, or you have more questions which you couldn't ask. Thank you so much for the very interesting Q&A session.